as we all know, the presentation is varied. It is something akin to the SARS-CoV pandemic that we are seeing right now. Most of the children with dengue, they do really well. They just present as an undifferentiated viral syndrome, but a very few of them go on to developing the leaky face, and they go on to shock, sometimes bleeding manifestations. The onset is abrupt in dengue with high-grade fever. It may last for up to 7 to 8 days. The entire duration of the illness may last for up to 7 to 8 days. And it is characterized by 3 phases: the febrile phase, the critical or the leaky phase, and the recovery phase. So the newer classification, it focuses on dengue with warning symptoms. It occurs, the warning symptoms, it coincides with the onset of the leaky phase. And this starts, this leaky phase starts after the fever subsides, and it may last up to 48 hours. And if unrecognized and not treated, it may just progress on to multi-organ dysfunction. What are the features to watch out for during the leaky phase? So normally there is fever for up to 2 to 3 days, and the leaky phase may start anytime after the 3rd or the 4th day. So when a child comes to us with fever and any of the following symptoms like abdominal pain, persistent vomiting, any kind of bleeding manifestation, lethargy or restlessness, and clinical evidence of fluid accumulation like periorbital puffiness or ascites or mild tachypnea related to pleural effusion, any of these are present, we know that the leaky phase has started. And the laboratory confirmation of that will be an increase in the hematocrit and a rapid drop in the platelet count. Or the first time if you're doing a CBC, the platelet count may be below 1 lakh or below 1.5 lakh. There will be evidence of metabolic acidosis in the severe leak. Bicarb may be as low as 15, and the serum lactate may also be elevated. So it is extremely important for us to recognize which child has gone on to the leaky phase. So just fever and no evidence of any kind of leak like abdominal pain or vomiting or lethargy, and the labs are also kind of within normal limits, then we are rest assured to say that the child may do well. But the child needs constant follow-up up to day 5 or day 6 to ensure they are not going into the leaky phase. So the newer classification classifies dengue as one which can be an undifferentiated fever with no leak at all, or one with severe dengue where the child goes into severe plasma leak or severe bleeding and or severe organ impairment in the form of ARDS, in the form of liver failure, in the form of renal failure, in rare instances myocarditis also. What is the pathophysiology behind the leak and the bleed? The antigen, the NS1 antigen as it is called, it binds to the glycocalyx of the endothelial cells, and this triggers an inflammatory cascade. There is release of cytokines, and there is also widening of the endothelial tight junction, so this causes the fluid to kind of leak out. There is also suppression of the marrow, causing a drop in the platelet count, accompanied by an increased platelet destruction. So there is leukopenia as well as thrombocytopenia. So this cytokine storm, it may not be appropriate for me to call it a storm, but yes, there is a release of cytokines which causes a widening of these endothelial tight junctions, and this is what causes the leak. So when fluid escapes through these endothelial cells into the tissues, then the child appears to be kind of fluid overloaded. There'll be puffiness of the face, there'll be puffiness under the eyes, there may be ascites, there may be pleural effusion. So many a times I have gotten a call from the emergency room saying that the child seems to be fluid overloaded, so I may not be giving too much of fluids. But on the contrary, this leak is outside of the vascular compartment. So there is hypovolemia, and the treatment is actually to increase the fluid intake or to give IV fluids and boluses.